way to Chicago, where she was all alone. Uh, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today we are doing a video that Hollywood was not ready for. We are doing Iron Lung review. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure to like button, subscribe, and do all the good stuff. Let's get right into the video. Iron Lung is the game was based on is an indie submarine horror game developed by David Szymanski. I am gonna butcher that. I'm sorry. On March 9th to 10th on 2020 for Steam. It is a game that was very niche. It was definitely an indie game, but there was something special about it. Iron Lung was a dystopian horror game set after in the game they had something called the quiet rapture where all the stars and planets vanished, leaving humanity to live on scattered ships and stations throughout space. And you are forced to play, or you play as a convict forced to pilot a makeshift submarine into the ocean of blood on a barren moon to investigate mysterious anomalies and like find clues as to why all this is happening, all the bad stuff was happening basically with the quiet rapture and trying to find out what happened with it. And that's basically the game, and there's some more details. But this movie, when I say the way it upset a lot of Disney movies by taking the number one spots, and a lot like just having an indie filmmaker really actually come on top, it was so amazing. This is besides the point, even just like the movie itself, but the fact that this was accomplished by a YouTuber itself, filming, production, executive writing, and directing, actually acting into it. Shout out to Mark for doing such a great job on this movie because it's actually insane. But besides the point, some of the key aspects include just like as I said, humanity surviving on scattered shifts, like dwindling resources and people as people are just like slowly dying off. Simon, the character he play as an Iron Lung, is promised with freedom, as long as he explores the blood ocean via the submarine, which is the Iron Lung, and it's a cramped, rusted vessel with no windows, only a camera and coordinates. And the game focus on basically the story focus on the focus on isolation and environmental storytelling. This really gets you because the way they portray and like explore is using by the low res and sound photos, which you can see strange structure, bone piles, and unnatural creatures, which adds an element of uncertainty, like giving you anxiety because the way you have to travel around is literally you go back, you hit a camera, and what you see on the camera is all you see on the outside, as there's no other way to see what's going on around in the blood-filled ocean, and it's very fascinating. It's a very unique game concept, and it definitely it was amplified within the movie because throughout the whole film, like even in the beginning, there's this is spoilers. This this is spoilers. Um, Throughout the whole film, you see the blood dropping, so it's giving that sense of like urgency and like when's gonna happen? Because you can start telling submarine's gonna fill up, and like you see from the beginning, the camera angle just shows drop, 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 and the congealed blood along the walls and all like because they said it's condensation, but you can tell it's blood. Showing like is giving the sense of impending doom. Like when is this gonna happen? What's going on. So this is just start dwelling this is all happening as he's exploring around, finding out what he has to do, what he's looking for, and he's just freaking the hell out. I mean, rightfully so. He's by himself. It is going more into his mind, his inner psyche, talking about like is you see his flashbacks from when he was back on the Eden, the other ship, and like everything was happening, and it's really showing how this is affecting him mentally because all he can do is be by himself in his thoughts, all alone in this place, and he's getting frustrated with everything because he knows he was sent to his death. He's gonna die. So as he's just fiddling around, just trying to make sense of everything, he goes under. He finds clues that people were in that submarine before him, and that really messes with him because he's like he realizes they lied. There were people before me, and some of them did not make it out. So he might not even like the character might not even survive. And stuff like this was really interesting because the film itself, it is Mark's first film project. It is an indie film, and just getting all this lore cramped into a 2 hour just and setting up its own universe is so fascinating because there is nothing there's not much to go off from the game, and so they're trying to establish the characters, the way they interact with each other, new characters, introduce different things, different topics, and like dropping lore. It's very fascinating, and throughout these 2 hours I was definitely it held my attention because it was very good and story building. It was definitely a slow burn movie towards at the start, but as it goes up, as it picks up, as it's ramping towards the climax, you can see everything start melding together. Why Simon's acting the way he is, why what everything happened, what like why he was there. It's expounding on all so much things of the character background and whatnot, and it was really put together. And I like he was saying he was a wrongly convicted prisoner because what happened on the movie was the reason explained why he's a convict is because one of the space stations was getting blown up, and Markiplier's character Simon did not want that, and he tried to stop it, but as it was too late, it was already blowing up, and somehow he survived. Didn't really expound that much to it, so then he got blamed for that. Now he's definitely a traitor. He's a rebel. Blah blah blah, and that's what got him onto his suicide mission, and it was just really very well made. I mean, especially towards the horror, thriller, psychological parts. It delves into how he's reacting, how he's starting to hear this other voice in his head to like try to interact with him and be like, "Don't listen to them. They're just trying to kill you." And then like the discovery of the SMA was just like other people were for sure down here. There's another vessel that was exploded wide open, and that's when he starts realizing the sense of impending doom. And as well as the music score, the foley, the music score, the sound design, the audio design, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, especially for the sci-fi psychological horror film it made the whole movie feel more suspenseful. As a gamer myself, I thought it was amazing. I mean, like it was expanded on a lot of lore, as I said, about Simon, the Quiet Rapture, about how a few lone moons were found, silent being sent into the ocean of blood. There being a creature clearly around, as one of the game mechanics is like the dial. It shows when you're near something, and you can see it going all around him. So it's very interesting how they establish this universe, how they go about the horror aspect. It definitely got to me at the end. I mean, the way they had this everything go. Let me just reach your thought. It was very well, basically. And and Markiplier was shirtless. That's besides the point, but as I said, I was talking about the Foley, right? I mean, like in the movie, he bandaged himself up and started because like he was getting injured, all the blood, blah blah blah. He realizes later on what it was actually doing. That blood was burning his skin alive, and when he was unwrapping those pieces of bandages, God, the Foley was so nasty. It was so disgusting. You're squinching, and I'm like, oh my God. You can tell he put so much into this because this is the culmination of 3 years of his life. 3 years of his life, and it's very insane how he went about this. And throughout this whole time, the crew was calling him convict. They slowly get closer to the end, and I am presuming that the crew died because at towards the end, she's like, "Please, like as he was getting going back to SMA, which is the last one, they realized it was a researcher submarine, so it had a black box with files that could potentially help save humanity. So as they're going back, they're like, "Please get this. This is bigger than us. Please, you have to hurry." And he was having a very big mental breakdown right now because he's just like, "I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. How could you guys do this to me? Please, I want to go out." And then like she starts yelling at him, Ava. She starts yelling at him, and he throughout this, as he's hearing this dialogue from Ava, he's hearing the monster's voice who's calling out, being like, "Don't do this. Destroy the black box, because this can't leave. You can't let this go." It's just saying this is like the voice is saying things like, "This is the light. This has to do with the rapture. Do you believe in God?" And which Simon, like, he says he doesn't want to get into it, and like the voice gives him coordinates to get closer, and he takes a picture of an odd image with a bright light at the screen, but then the voice becomes more ominous. It's just like like the light cuts through his ship, and it seems like a creature goes by, and it's very weird. Because then after that, he briefly sees a human and monster in the pilot seat before the ship before he hides to the side and tries to defend himself. And it's very crazy, like the way he starts exploring like that, and then as he's downloading the black box data, he gets an audio recording from the sub's pilot. It is a vague recording, but it basically states that the blood itself is bad, and that the common colony should not consume the blood for food because it is people, and it's like very, it is technically the human blood, because they said they have DNA through it, and even though they theoretically can, it is the it is not good for you. So the captain of mission makes her way, like the Ava, she makes her way down to the ocean floor in her own sub to fetch assignment, and more importantly the black box data. But the captain does end up right there. It is when the captain ends up getting killed by the creature, and she begs him to save the black box no matter what. And this is the climax of the film where everything starts. The real bloody horror begins as the blood starts to flood into the sub. Vines of congealed blood starts to attach into his body and transform inside the submarine, constantly clicking or holding the camera button. Ooh. And it tries to eventually dissolve Simon when he's trying to procure a safe means of getting the black blocks along with leaving. And so basically now it's the creature stating that the sub is now alive because of what's happening right now. And the voice is basically just saying like, give up, please. This is not what you should be doing. And and like all the blood that said as when I was saying like the blood said was bad for him, that's when he peels off his bandages and he starts seeing all the blood actually melting away his arms, like missing chunks, bunch of blisters everywhere, and he starts shaking because he's like, "What the fuck is happening to me?" And when the vines were attaching himself so to not let him like continue because like it was alive, they didn't want the creature and the sub, I guess itself. They didn't want him to leave with the black box, so it was attaching to him. And when he pulled away, you could see the necrosis taking over. As when he pulled away, he lost an arm right there, and it was just like bone sticking out and blood dripping. Absolutely nasty, phenomenal. But towards the end, Simon ends up sacrificing himself while saving the black box. He ends up blowing the submarine up, killing himself, but also killing the creature. Which I do like the ending because it is a little different than the game ending. If you know the game ending just stops the operator Simon from doing the final task by himself. Like when you're about to do the final task, it gets him and it kills him, and that's the end of the story. So I do like that it was ended on a more better note, I guess. And there's at the end, you see like people like lights. I guess they're trying to recover the submarine. So it was a fantastic movie. It definitely keeps you fascinated as a viewer. It did a well job of expounding on the universe of the game itself, expounding on characters, the lore, the way the submarine actually operates, and like what happened prior, like context of everything. And I would like to reinstate again that this is a film made by indie film director, actor, whatever, Markiplier. This is actually a well done job. I don't think Hollywood expected it to be this well, as he did not have any big corporations, distributors behind him. This is soul funded, and the fact that like a YouTuber was able to get this much coverage just through himself and the support of his base is absolutely amazing. And this was a great film. I do recommend it to watch. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was indeed a great film to watch. So if you guys do want to go support it, I highly recommend it. And shout out to Markiplier. So as always, the like button, subscribe, the good stuff. See you dudes in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Bye.